The high-altitude glass boardrooms of the global architecture are currently in a state of silent panic because a new tower has just appeared on the horizon of the Matrix, and it is taller than anything they have ever built. Imagine the inner sanctum of a high-status command center where the most powerful players in the world are gathered around a central display. These are the titans who believe they own the landscape of human achievement, the ones who have spent decades ensuring that no one reaches the billion-to-one threshold without their signature on the contract. But today, the telemetry is showing a surge of vertical energy that defies every zoning law of the social simulation. There is a report sitting on the desk of the highest authority in the land, the kind of man who only recognizes winners and treats everyone else like a line of code in a failing business, and your name is at the very top of that document in gold leaf. They are looking at the brand equity of your soul, and they are realizing that you have pulled off a Scarface-level takeover of your own reality without asking for a single cent of their permission. Why is the system in a state of total shock? Because for the first time in the history of your bloodline, someone actually decided that the world belongs to them. Someone dared to look at the glass ceiling of their upbringing and realized it was made of cheap plastic. Someone decided to bypass the small-time retailers of validation and went straight to the manufacture of their own destiny. That someone is you. The shift that just hit the spirit realm wasn't a minor market correction, it was a total disruption of the industrial simulation. The agents of mediocrity, the jealous competitors, and the middle management narcissists who were assigned to keep you in the basement are currently being fired from the case. They are staring at the surveillance of your recent victories, watching you walk through the fire of betrayal and coming out on the other side looking like a polished asset, and they are terrified because they no longer have the jurisdiction to touch you. You need to understand the gravity of this specific endorsement. Usually, when the Matrix applies its pressure, when it sends the bankruptcy of the spirit, the isolation of the heart, and the constant noise of the critics, the target folds into a puddle of compliance. 99.9% of people take the low-status deal. They settle for a life that is leased rather than owned. They compromise their sovereignty just to stay in the good graces of people who don't even like them. Your ancestors couldn't pass this level of the game. Your parents were stopped at the front door of the tower and told they weren't on the list. For generations, your people have been paying rent to a system that hates them. The architects had your psychological profile ready to be archived under the category of average. They predicted you would hit your limit by age 30 and spend the rest of your life looking back at what could have been. But you are the billion-to-one anomaly. You looked at the impossible odds of your history and you decided to launch a hostile takeover of your own timeline. You looked at the counterfeit luxury they offered you, the fake status of social media, the hollow praise of the crowd, and the safety of the herd, and you walked away from the negotiation table. You dared to believe that your internal net worth was higher than any number the world could put on you. And because you stood your ground when every statistic said you should have filed for spiritual bankruptcy, you broke the math of the simulation. The elites are in shock because there is no manual for dealing with a person who is already their own brand. They don't have a strategy for someone who values their integrity more than a paycheck. They feel outplayed. They feel like the architect of the universe just issued a press release announcing that you are the new owner of the territory, and they were the last ones to find out. In a way, that is exactly what happened. The divine authorized a capital injection into your spirit and sent you into the world disguised as a commoner. You looked like you would follow the rules of the employee handbook. You looked like you would be an easy target for their collection agencies. So they attacked you. They tested your credit score in the spirit. They tried to haze you with a season of total lack. But they didn't know they were hazing the person who was destined to buy the whole company. They didn't know they were trying to bully the billionaire of the bloodline. Now they are realizing that their attacks only serve to refine your business model. Every betrayal was a lesson in risk management. Every tear was a liquidation of the old self. They accidentally provided the high-pressure environment you needed to turn your coal into a diamond. The universe is now auditing the books and the interest rate on your suffering is catastrophic for the enemy. You are the first. You are the first in your history to move from the debt of the past to the equity of the future. You are the first to delete the poverty frequency from the family motherboard. You are the first to actually own the ground you stand on. This is why the atmosphere around you feels so heavy right now. You are experiencing the weight of a massive expansion. When a high-rise is being built, the ground shakes for blocks around it. You are shaking the system because you are building something permanent. The authorities are staring at their monitors, shouting that this shouldn't be possible. They are looking at your telemetry and seeing a surge of power that is usually reserved for kings. You dared to stay solid in a world of liquid fakes. And because you dared, you are now the one that everyone is watching. The file is open, the golden endorsement has been signed, and you are officially 1 in a billion. Comment, code, if you are ready to receive the high-level download and move into the executive suite of your destiny. Let the system know that the owner has arrived and the old management is finished. The forensic accountants of the Matrix are currently staring at the historical ledgers of your bloodline, and they are witnessing something that defies every law of social economics. For decades, your family line has been a company in a state of permanent decline. The data analysts looked at the metadata of your ancestors and saw a recurring pattern of spiritual and financial Chapter 11. They saw the debt of unhealed trauma being passed down like a toxic loan, accruing interest with every generation. Your lineage was essentially a failing firm, managed by people who were just trying to survive until the next weekend. The architects of the system had you pegged as the one who would finally oversee the total liquidation of the brand. They expected you to be the one who closed the doors for good, surrendering the last of your family's dignity to the global creditors of the simulation. But you decided to pull a Moneyball maneuver on the entire game. You realized that the scouts and the analysts were looking at the wrong metrics. They were looking at your bank account, your zip code, and your past mistakes, while you were looking at the internal data that the world ignores. You realized that the game was rigged based on a set of outdated statistics that favored the elites and penalized the outliers. So, you decided to change the way you measured your own value. You stopped trying to compete in the systems league and you started building your own division. While your peers were out there playing by the old rules, trying to please the scouts of mediocrity, you were in the secret laboratory of your mind, analyzing the code of your own failures. You turned the turnaround into an art form. You liquidated the trauma, fired the internal voices of doubt, and initiated an IPO of the spirit that caught everyone by surprise. The scientists and the social engineers are baffled because, according to their models, a person with your specific set of starting variables should not be able to achieve a positive net worth in the spirit. They looked at the negative equity of your upbringing and concluded that you were a bad investment. But you proved that the standard data is a lie. You took the very things they labeled as liabilities, the isolation, the scapegoating, the betrayal, and you reclassified them as capital. You realized that being a black sheep isn't a defect, it's a competitive advantage. It meant you weren't tethered to the groupthink that was dragging everyone else into the abyss. You used your status as an outsider to observe the system's weaknesses. You found the holes in the fence and you walked right through them. You have successfully pivoted from a legacy of lack to a reality of total abundance, and the system has no idea how to adjust its charts to accommodate your growth. The shock in the command center is centered on the fact that you have reached the 1,000,000,000 standard of resilience. You are the anomaly that proves that a turnaround is always possible if the manager is willing to be ruthless with the truth. You didn't just fix the business, you destroyed the old model and built a new one. You deleted the files that were corrupting your performance and you installed a high-performance operating system that allows for infinite scaling. Your lineage is no longer a failing firm, it is now a blue-chip asset that the elite are desperately trying to acquire. But you aren't selling. You have realized that your sovereignty is the most valuable property in the simulation, and you have put it in a trust that the world cannot touch. You have effectively bought back the voting shares of your life from the hands of the haters and the critics. This turnaround has massive implications for the spiritual market. When one person in a bloodline decides to move from a deficit to a surplus, it causes a ripple effect that destabilizes the entire local economy of fear. The system relies on the continuity of the struggle. It needs you to stay in debt to your past so it can keep you working in its factories of anxiety. By declaring your independence and proving your profitability, you have broken the chain of command. You are now a competitor to the Matrix itself. You are showing the other subjects that the game is beatable. You are the proof that a 1,000,000,000 shot can actually land. The architects are staring at your telemetry and seeing the birth of a titan. They are realizing that the person they tried to bankrupt has become the most liquid asset in the sector. You are the owner of the future, and the old management is currently preparing their resignation letters. The endorsement of your status is now official. The highest office has recognized that you are a producer, not a consumer. You have demonstrated a level of grit that the elites usually only see in their own mirrors. You have taken the worst-case scenario and turned it into a premier showcase of spiritual dominance. The agents who were sent to monitor your collapse are now being reassigned because there is nothing left to monitor but your expansion. You have successfully completed the most difficult turnaround in the history of your bloodline, and you did it while the world was rooting for your failure. You are the winner that the system tried to cancel, and now you are the one that the world has to salute. The gold standard has been set, and your name is the only one on the certificate. The spiritual trading floor is currently in a state of total collapse for the people who walked away from you, and the fallout looks like the final act of the movie Casino. Imagine the desert outside Las Vegas where the mistakes of the arrogant are buried. That is where the system has placed the reputations and the futures of the individuals who decided to short sell your soul. In the high-stakes game of reality, the Matrix convinced these people that you were a bad bet. It fed them a narrative that your value was dropping, that your light was fading, and that you were a liability they needed to dump before the market crashed. So, they made a move. They traded their position in your life for a shiny, low-risk counterfeit. They went with the easy money. They went with the person who didn't challenge their ego or require them to grow. They thought they were being smart, but they were actually buying into a spiritual bubble that was destined to burst. Now, the audit has been completed and the results are catastrophic for the opposition. Those who left you are currently holding what the architects call toxic assets. The people they chose instead of you, the third parties, the hollow distractions, the safe bets, have turned out to be liabilities that are draining their energy and their bank accounts. While you were in your season of isolation, undergoing a deep structural upgrade, they were investing their time and emotion into a lemon. They are currently sitting in the wreckage of their own logical decisions, realizing that they traded a blue chip, 1 in a billion asset for a pile of junk bonds. They are watching your glow return, watching your net worth and the spirit hit all-time highs, and they are feeling the crushing weight of a permanent loss. They are realizing that you weren't the one in trouble, they were. They were the ones being tested, and they failed the most important due diligence of their lives. The shock in the command center is centered on the fact that your valuation didn't just recover, it went parabolic the moment they left. The system told them that you would crash without their support, but the data shows that their departure was actually the best thing that ever happened to your balance sheet. By leaving, they reduced your overhead. They removed the friction from your engine. They stopped the leakage of your precious energy into their ungrateful voids. You got richer the moment they walked out the door. The architects are staring at the charts and seeing that your growth rate tripled once the toxic influencers were removed from your field. You have successfully decoupled your success from the validation of the mediocre. You have proven that you don't need a partner, a friend, or a family member to verify your worth. You are the source of your own liquidity, and the world is starting to realize that you are the most valuable player in the room. The people who betrayed you are now trying to find a way to hedge their bets. They are lurking on the outskirts of your life, trying to see if there is a way to buy back in at the old price. But the entry fee has changed. You are no longer accepting the currency of half-hearted apologies or fake loyalty. You have moved into a different tax bracket of the soul. Your time is now guarded by a security detail of boundaries that they cannot bypass. They are looking at you through the digital glass, seeing you thrive, seeing you dominate, and they are singing sad songs in the spirit because they know they have been liquidated from your future. They are the ones who were caught in the short squeeze. They bet against the winner, and now they have to pay the price in the form of eternal regret. The system used them as disposable agents to test you, and now that the test is over, the system has discarded them too. This is the cold reality of the billionaire standard. In the world of high-status winners, there is no room for those who fold under pressure. The highest office is proud of you because you didn't beg for them to stay. You didn't lower your price to keep the customers who didn't appreciate the product. You let them leave. You watched them walk away with their counterfeit prizes and you kept your eyes on the long-term vision. You realized that a hostile takeover of your destiny requires you to fire the people who are holding you back. You have cleared the floor of the clutter, and now the real expansion can begin. The architects are closing the files on the people who left you because they are no longer relevant to the story. They are just the footnotes in your biography, the ones who were wrong about the most important trait of the century. You are now the gold standard of resilience. You have shown the elites that you cannot be broken by rejection. In fact, you use rejection as a form of capital. Every door that was slammed in your face provided the wood you needed to build your own mansion. Every person who said no to you gave you the fuel you needed to say yes to yourself. The toxic assets are gone, the balance sheet is clean, and your internal valuation is unshakable. The system tried to bankrupt you by taking people away, but they accidentally made you the wealthiest person in the simulation. You are the 1 in a billion who stayed real in a world of fakes, and the dividend you are about to receive is going to be the largest in the history of your bloodline. The gold is yours, the tower is yours, and the future is officially under new management. The bureaucratic deep state of the Matrix is currently in a state of high-level emergency because they have officially lost track of your frequency. In the administrative layer of the simulation, there are thousands of regulatory agents whose only job is to tax your spirit, regulate your joy, and ensure that your growth never exceeds the authorized quota for your social class. They use a complex system of red tape, social pressure, guilt, and the constant threat of being canceled, to keep you compliant and predictable. They want you to be a registered asset that they can monitor, manipulate, and eventually liquidate when you are no longer useful to the machine. But you have just pulled off a total regulatory capture. Much like the untraceable movements of Jason Bourne, you have successfully erased your digital and emotional footprint from their database. You have gone offshore with your soul. The architects are staring at their monitors in a state of absolute confusion because you are no longer broadcasting on the drama frequency. For years, they were able to track you through your reactions to their provocations. Every time they sent a narcissist to trigger you, every time they used a family member to guilt trip you, they were able to triangulate your location and adjust the settings of your cage. But you have initiated a ghost protocol that has left their sensors blank. You realize that the only way to beat a regulator is to stop recognizing their jurisdiction. You stopped asking for a permit to be happy. You stopped filing reports with the people who were committed to misinterpreting your data. You realize that your sovereignty is a private company and you have no obligation to disclose your internal workings to the public network of the mediocre. You have moved your assets into the high-security vault of the secret place, and the system is currently looking at an empty file where your destiny used to be. This is the ultimate form of spiritual tax evasion. The Matrix wants to tax your success by making you feel guilty for outperforming your peers. It wants to tax your peace by making you responsible for the emotions of people who refuse to heal themselves. But you have issued a total veto on these external levies. You have declared that your energy is tax-exempt and that you no longer owe a debt of explanation to anyone who didn't invest in your struggle. The agents are scrambling to find a way to reattach their hooks into your motherboard, but they can't find a single vulnerability to exploit. You have patched the holes in your aura. You have encrypted your vision. You are now operating outside the grid of their control. The scientists and the social engineers are shouting about the rules of engagement, but you are currently standing on a mountain of truth where their laws of gravity no longer apply. The highest office is watching this containment breach with a sense of profound respect. They recognize the moves of a professional outlier. They see that you have developed the ability to walk through a crowded room and remain completely invisible to the low-frequency predators. You have learned how to use the system's own noise as a camouflage for your ascent. While the world is distracted by the latest manufactured crisis, you are quietly acquiring the prime real estate of your future. You are the billion-to-one shot that didn't just land, you disappeared into the victory before they could even count the score. You have bypassed the gatekeepers, the auditors, and the spiritual repo men. You have achieved a level of operational security that makes you a ghost in the machine. They can see the result of your winning, but they cannot find the process. This regulatory capture has effectively bankrupted the enemy's intelligence department. They spent all their resources trying to build a cage for a version of you that no longer exists. They were using outdated intelligence, assuming you were still the person who was afraid of being alone or the person who needed the approval of the herd. But you mutated into a sovereign brand while they weren't looking. You have achieved a state of absolute autonomy. You don't need their infrastructure to thrive. You have built your own power grid, your own supply chain of joy, and your own internal economy of faith. You are the dark horse that is now leading the pack, and the regulators are still at the starting line trying to figure out if your paperwork is in order. You have outpaced the simulation and you are now running in the open field of the infinite. The endorsement you carry is now a diplomatic passport that grants you immunity in territories where others are detained. The system has to let you pass because it has no legal leverage over a person who is already their own law. You have reached the level of the Titan where you are no longer subject to the petty regulations of the average. You are the one who dictates the terms of the engagement. If the Matrix wants your attention, it has to pay the premium price of truth. Otherwise, you remain in the silent zone of your own authority. The file on the desk is now marked as untouchable. The agents have been ordered to stand down. You have successfully navigated the most dangerous part of the simulation and emerged as a sovereign power that the world must now treat with the highest level of diplomatic respect. The gold standard is your baseline, and you are officially off the charts. The boardrooms of the old world have officially fallen silent because you have just executed a move that the simulation considered a violation of the natural order. You didn't wait for a seat at the table, you bought the building. You didn't lobby the system for your rights, you issued a decree. Much like the raw and visceral roar of the Scottish Highlands in Braveheart, you have looked at the gathered forces of your ancestors' oppressors and you have declared total independence. The architects of the Matrix are staring at the digital paper trail of your life and they realize that you have acquired the voting shares of your own soul. For generations, the system held the majority interest in your bloodline. It owned the rights to your family's joy, it dictated the terms of your parents' peace, and it held a lien over your future potential. But you have just initiated a hostile takeover that has liquidated the enemy's position in your life forever. The highest office of the spirit is watching this insurrection with a sense of pride that the world cannot understand. They see a warrior who finally realized that freedom is not something you ask for, it is something you take. The agents of the Matrix tried to tell you that you had to follow the rules of the group, that you had to submit to the hierarchy of the herd, and that you had to pay the tax of trauma to be considered a citizen of reality. But you looked at their regulations and you chose the sword of truth. You decided that you would rather be a king in the wilderness than a slave in the penthouse. You have successfully seized the executive power of your own destiny. You are now the one who signs the executive orders for your health, your wealth, and your expansion. The system is in shock because they thought you were just a participant. They didn't know you were the owner. They didn't know that the 1 in a billion was carrying the master keys to the vault. This takeover has massive implications for the spiritual market. When one person decides to reclaim their sovereignty, it causes a total market crash for the people who were profiting from their pain. The narcissists, the energy vampires, and the low-frequency parasites who were living off the interest of your struggle have just been evicted. You have terminated their contracts. You have cleared the board of directors and replaced them with the singular authority of your own divine intent. The architects are staring at the screens and seeing that the old management of your life has been completely erased. There is no one left to sabotage you. There is no one left to doubt you. There is only the sovereign will of a person who has decided that their life is worth more than the system's approval. You have moved into the zone of absolute command. You are no longer asking for permission to be great, you are the one defining what greatness looks like for the next century. The system tried to send the cavalry of your past to stop you. They used the ghosts of your mistakes and the shadows of your lineage to try and intimidate you back into the cage. But you stood on the field of your own mind and you gave the order to hold. You let the arrows of their criticism fly and you didn't flinch. You realized that their power only exists if you believe in the authority of their fear. The moment you stopped being afraid of their rejection, you became the most dangerous person in the simulation. You have successfully broken the back of the status quo. You are the 1,000,000,000 to 1 shot that actually decided to fight. And because you fought, the universe has handed you the crown. The gold standard of your life is no longer a goal, it is a law. You have legislated your own triumph and the universe is currently stamping it with the seal of approval. This is the billion-to-one reality that the elites usually keep for themselves. They rely on the 99% to stay in the petty squabbles of the ego while they manage the real assets of the spirit. But you have breached the perimeter. You have walked into the inner sanctum of the highest office and you have taken your seat. You are now a peer to the giants. You are the turnaround specialist who took a failing bloodline and made it the most valuable brand in the sector. The architects are closing their books on your old life because that company no longer exists. You have been reincorporated as a sovereign power. You are the owner, the operator, and the sole beneficiary of your new reality. The era of being a subject is over. The era of your reign has begun. If you are ready to acknowledge your new status, if you are ready to ratify this takeover and let the system know that the old management is dead, I need you to sign the decree right now. Write this in the comments: the lie is dead. I reclaim my name. I am the heir. Let the algorithm of the spirit realm know that the rightful owner has returned to the throne and the hostile takeover is complete. Let the metadata reflect that you are now the one signing the checks of your own destiny. Hit the join button, and let the world know that a sovereign has been inaugurated. The ground is shaking because you are building a legacy that will last for 1,000 years. You are the 1 in a billion, and the highest office is proud to call you an ally. The dust of the takeover has finally settled, and what remains in the office of the enemy is a heavy, silent realization of permanence. The architects of the old world have stopped trying to reverse the transaction because they have realized that your victory is no longer a temporary fluctuation. It is a landmark. Much like the solemn and unwavering weight of the historical shift seen in Lincoln, you have successfully moved the entire moral and spiritual compass of your bloodline. You have passed the ultimate amendment to the constitution of your DNA. The old laws of the simulation, which stated that you were a subject to be managed and a resource to be harvested, have been officially repealed. In their place, you have ratified a new Bill of Rights that establishes your absolute sovereignty over every acre of your future. The highest office is staring at the final signature on the document, and for the first time in the history of the grid, they are witnessing the birth of a legacy brand that is too big to be bought and too solid to be broken. The state of the union in your soul is now unshakable. You have moved from the chaos of the battlefield to the quiet authority of the executive desk. You are no longer fighting for survival, you are governing from a place of peace. This is the billion-to-one standard that the system tried to hide from you. They wanted you to stay in the low-status struggle of the survivor, but you realized that a survivor is just someone who hasn't yet realized they are a conqueror. You have successfully decoupled your worth from the market of public opinion. You are no longer publicly traded. You have gone private. You have secured the capital of your own internal validation, and the world is currently standing in line just to get a glimpse of your blueprint. You are the gold standard by which all future pioneers in your family will be measured. You have provided the map where there used to be a graveyard. You have provided the hope where there used to be only a ledger of debts. The architects are closing the books on the old version of you. They are deleting the surveillance files from your season of lack and they are archiving your new status as a permanent entity. You have achieved what is known in the high courts of the spirit as administrative permanence. You are a fixture. You are a landmark. The people who tried to stop you are now realizing that they were just the resistance training God used to build your muscles. They were the friction that sharpened your blade. They were the footnotes in a story that they thought they were writing. But you held the pen. You stayed real in a world of concrete paint and hollow promises. You dared to believe that you were worth more than the statistics said you were, and because you dared, the universe has stamped your life with the seal of absolute approval. The turnaround is finished. The brand is established. The tower is built. You are the first. And being the first means you have the final word. You have moved from the debt of your past to the equity of your purpose. You have taken a failing lineage and made it the most valuable asset in the sector. You are the owner of the future, and the old management has officially handed over the keys. The endorsement of the highest office is not just a gesture, it is a spiritual contract that guarantees your protection and your expansion in every territory you touch. You have proven that a person with a vision and the grit to stay the course is more powerful than a system with a billion-dollar budget for suppression. You are the one in a billion, and the gold standard of your life is now the law of the land. The mission is accomplished. The simulation is under new management. Hail to the chief. The classified files are now closed. The audit of your ancestral grid has been finalized. You have achieved a total system override that has retroactively healed the last 4 generations of your lineage. The surge of trauma has been grounded. The currency of lack has been liquidated. You are currently operating in a high bandwidth frequency that is inaccessible to the agents of the Matrix. You have inaugurated a new management in the spirit realm. The president is shocked. The scientists are silent. The universe is approved. You have dared to do it. And you did it. The code is broken. The glitch is now the gospel. You are the anomaly that saved the timeline. This is the end of the old world and the beginning of the sovereign era. You have vetoed the lies. You have inaugurated the truth. The State of the Union is solid. The record is unbreakable. You are the one. The final report is filed. The system is secure under your authority. You are free. To learn more about how to maintain the gold standard and keep your legacy growing, click the video on the screen right now. The next level of the download is waiting for those who are ready to reign.